Aryna Sabalenka was spotted training at the Atlantis Royal in Dubai. A few days later, she pulled out of both the Doha and Dubai WTA 1000 events claiming a right hip injury. That one move was all it took to light the match. Salah Tahlak, the tournament director, took it public, demanding the world number one be hit with ranking point penalties. And somewhere in the fallout, a rumor of a $1.66 billion contract got tied to Eala's name and blew up on Facebook and TikTok before any fact-checkers could even get to it. But here is what the story is truly about. It is not about jealousy. It is about two athletes operating in completely different financial worlds and a media ecosystem that worked overtime to make sure no one could see the distinction. So, let's begin with where each player is right now. As of February 23, 2026, Aryna Sabalenka is the top-ranked player in the world with $166,482 in year-to-date prize money. And she earned all of that in only 2 tournaments. She started the year by winning the Brisbane International, beating Marta Kostyuk in the final to collect $14,530. After that, it was Melbourne. Rybakina dismantled Sabalenka in the Australian Open final, overcoming a 30-love deficit in the last set. Sabalenka still took home $1,391,952 as the runner-up, but she also entered a firestorm. Pat Cash called her performance a collapse. Annabelle Croft went even further, labeling Sabalenka's conduct on the court as immature. The world number one was, by any measure, taking fire from every side. Eala, meanwhile, entered 2026 from a totally different reality. She started the year with her ranking fluctuating somewhere between the low 30s and the high 40s. Her entire career prize earnings had only just surpassed $1.66 million, which, to be clear, is less than what Sabalenka pocketed in January alone. That number, however, tells you nothing about the brand that is quietly being built around Eala. Fans were buzzing once more after Aryna Sabalenka mentioned she wouldn't be getting any VIP treatment at the Slams for the next year. I will get into whether Aryna is really being overlooked by the swoosh brand, and that is when things get complicated. On February 10, 2026, a single claim started to overwhelm feeds on Facebook and TikTok. Abu Dhabi billionaire Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed Al Nahyan had allegedly offered Alexa a $1.6 billion deal with $1 billion upfront and $600 million a year for 10 years. The entire point was to make her the face of a brand new UAE tennis tournament. To really grasp how staggering that amount is, you just need one frame of reference. The richest sports contract ever confirmed is Juan Soto's. That agreement is worth a total of $700 million. The Sheikh Mansour rumor was pushing something 10 times bigger. Fact-checkers dove in, discovered the viral pictures were clever edits, and verified the entire story was manufactured from scratch, pure fiction. But that was not the end of the story. Running parallel to the Sheikh Mansour tale was another rumor that Wilson Sporting Goods had proposed a $45 million endorsement deal to Eala. It was even packaged with a supposed quote from Eala herself where she claimed she would use the funds to help other people. The problem is that Eala is a longtime Babolat athlete. She has been partnered with the brand for years using the Pure Aero 2023 racket. She has zero connection to Wilson at all. And the quote they attributed to her was just stolen, lifted verbatim from an unrelated piece about a professional golfer, and then inserted into the story as though Eala had said it. Eala herself expressed that she was disturbed by how quickly that sort of disinformation was circulating among her own fanbase. Now let's get to the correction this story desperately needs. There is no confirmed record, not one, of Aryna Sabalenka making any kind of insulting or comparative statement about Eala's finances. The whole going off narrative that has been fueling clicks, whether real or made up, is a total misrepresentation. What Sabalenka actually set off was the controversy around her withdrawal from Doha and Dubai. Salah Tahlak, the director of the Dubai tournament, was anything but quiet on the subject. He had just finished a 2,000-seat expansion of Dubai's Court 1, an investment made specifically to accommodate the crowds that stars like Sabalenka draw. When she pulled out, especially after pictures of her training at Atlantis the Royal surfaced, Tahlak took his grievances public. He questioned if the injury was even legitimate, noting that the tournament's own physician had assessed it as minor. From there, he advocated for a much bigger consequence. He called for Sabalenka and Swiatek to have their ranking points taken away, not just be fined. She has been a fixture in the headlines this season alone for multiple reasons. First, for demolishing her racket after her Australian Open defeat to Madison Keys, and then for claiming that money by itself is not a meaningful penalty for athletes who are already earning millions. Gauff responded by defending the right to pull out for health reasons, and pointing out that players give up potential points whenever they withdraw. But Tahlak's view was firm. Tournaments are investing at unprecedented rates. When marquee players are a no-show, that investment quickly loses its value. And all of this is happening as the environment for prize money in 2026 is not expanding. It is contracting. The Indian Wells Masters. The tournament players have often called the fifth Grand Slam, actually slashed its total prize fund by 2.87% this year. It fell from $19,387,080 in 2025 to $18,831,450. The men's singles champions prize money decreased by 4%. Madashi. Prize funds have seen a 14% cut, falling from $1,211,125 down to $1,151,380. Meanwhile, the athletes themselves are fighting for a greater share of the profits, setting up an unavoidable clash. This situation is very real for Sabalenka. After making it to the Indian Wells final in 2025, she took home $599,625 for her performance. Achieving the same feat in 2026 yields a smaller payout when adjusted for inflation, adding to the frustration of a player already upset with how tournament officials handle her choices regarding her health. This decline in prize money just adds another layer of pressure on top of all the other existing challenges. But amidst the social media frenzy, a crucial detail was entirely overlooked. Throughout 2025, Aryna Sabalenka pulled in an estimated $30 million combined from her on-court winnings and official sponsorship deals. This figure placed her as the world's second highest earning female athlete, surpassed only by Gauff. Just let that sink in for a moment. The athlete portrayed as being outraged over EA's alleged billions is in fact earning $30 million annually and has long since exceeded every financial benchmark mentioned in those fabricated stories. To suggest this is about jealousy is not only deceptive, it is also a mathematical absurdity. Sabalenka's real anger was aimed at Tahlak's public statements and the Eala WTA's failure to shield its players from tournament officials who were leveraging the media against them. Once you remove the rumors and the narrative of a personal rivalry, you're left with a workplace conflict disguised as a private feud. None of this should diminish what Eala has genuinely accomplished, because her achievements are substantial and have no connection to any fictional contracts. On February 23rd, Eala achieved her best-ever ranking of number 31, following a successful tournament in Dubai where she secured one of her career's most important victories. On the 17th of February, she defeated the world number 8 Jasmine Puini in a surprising upset, which made her the youngest Asian player in history to achieve more than one top 10 win on the WTA Tour. During the quarterfinal match with Gauff, she was defeated 0-6, 2-6, and she was refreshingly honest about her performance later. She acknowledged that the performance gap between her and the top 5 elite players was quite noticeable. Against Gauff, her first serve only landed 57% of the time. From those serves, she managed to win only 30% of the points, highlighting a tangible technical gap she needs to close to reach the highest level. However, a different set of figures reveals why those billion-dollar rumors began circulating around her to begin with. By February of 2026, Eala had amassed a following of over 920,000 on Instagram, boasting an engagement rate between 15 and 20%, 3 times the typical rate for the WTA's leading athletes. Her matches in Dubai, where Filipinos make up about 10% of the residents, became something more than just simple tennis contests. The event organizers said the environment felt like she was playing on home turf, with stadiums completely full and supporters emotionally invested in every single point. She attracted bigger audiences and sparked more online interaction than several top 10 players, including Sabalenka herself. This influence is mirrored in her real list of sponsors: Nike, Babel Globe Telecom Bank of the Philippine Islands, and Milo, not some imaginary billion-dollar UAE deal. What she has is a genuine and expanding commercial power within her region, one that continues to build on itself. Now both athletes are moving on to the North American hardcourt season, which includes the Sunshine Double tournaments in Indian Wells and Miami. Sabalenka will be defending her Miami Open Championship with a winner's prize of over $1.1 million at stake during a season that has already seen reductions in tournament prize money. A poor performance in March could jeopardize her position as world number 1, making her susceptible to challenges from Rybakina and Swiatek, which would directly impact her endorsement value going into 2027. Eala's objective, on the other hand, is to leverage her number 31 ranking to get a seeded spot at both Indian Wells and Miami. Being seeded would allow her to avoid facing players like Sabalenka Gauff or Rybakina early on, providing a smoother route into the later stages of the tournaments where she could begin to narrow the gap in on-court earnings. It's highly probable that her management team will capitalize on the victory against Paolini to secure additional endorsements within the Philippines, adding to the $129,332 in on-court earnings reported by some trackers for the start of the season. This leads to the central question that has been obscured by viral rumors and conflicts with tournament officials. Can Alexandra, Eala convert her massive online following of 920,000 dedicated fans and an engagement rate 3 times the average into reaching the quarterfinals and semifinals of a Grand Slam? Or will the personal brand she has so successfully cultivated ultimately overshadow her capacity to truly challenge competitors like Sabalenka, Gauff, Rybakina, and Swiatek on the biggest stages? Because the performance gap, the very one she acknowledged was significant, is the only real issue at the heart of this entire narrative.